Hello, hello! It is Ariel once again with a video, and this time the video subject is makeup I totally still want. I'm sure that you're familiar with this situation. A new product is released. You say to yourself, I'm not going to purchase that product. For whatever reason. Maybe it's too expensive for you at the time. Maybe it's too expensive in general. Maybe you think to yourself, this just looks like the Modern Renaissance palette, which I already own. I don't need this palette. It's not necessarily a palette. It could be a highlighter. It could be a lipstick. Whatever it is that you're looking at. You want it. It comes out. You don't buy it for whatever reason. But it just it lodges in your brain, tugging at the strings of your mind, and you see it in Ulta or Sephora or just wherever it is that you go, in TJ Maxx, whatever. You go there, you see it, you're like, no, I won't. And then you go home, but you're still thinking about it. And you just can't, you still want the palette. That's what this video is about. It's about makeup I still totally want. I believe most of it is still available, which means that I might buy it. Okay, so let's start out with a big elephant in the room. The Natasha Denona Gold Palette. I've never been particularly enthralled with Natasha Denona. For whatever reason, if you hear something, it's my cat eating his dinner, alright? So just ignore it. For whatever reason, I've never been really enthralled with Natasha Denona. Perhaps it's because the price is just way too high for me to deal with. Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. I like how everybody calls her Natasha Denona. It's funny because her palettes are very expensive, obviously, but people don't like anti-haul Pat McGrath that much, even though it's actually more expensive on a per shadow basis. For whatever reason, people can accept it from Pat McGrath. My personal reason has always been that Pat McGrath's eyeshadows have been consistently fantastic, whereas Natasha Denona is kind of like hit or miss. Some of her formulas are good, some of them are just okay, and she switches up the formulas all the time. So I don't really feel like paying $130 minimum for a formula that you might be getting something good, you might be getting something terrible, you don't know. The cheaper palettes that she's put out, like those small, like the $50-something ones, I just think it's too much to pay per shadow for, again, a hit or miss formula. And then the 25-pan palettes, have you ever seen those things in person? They are like doll makeup. I'm not really feeling that whole thing. But what I am feeling is this gold palette. I've tried to resist its siren call. Objectively speaking, looking at it, I don't necessarily see anything that should make it haunt my dreams the way that it does. It's just neutral colors and then a few little pops of teal or green. And yet, when I went into Sephora, I did look at the palette in person. I was hoping that would break its spell on me, but no, it just got worse. Maybe it's because I've seen such beautiful looks done with it, or maybe because I'm just weak to that particular combination of muted golds and greens, sort of greeny blues. It's just beautiful. I don't know. In fairness to me, it's had really great reviews, and I do feel like the color story is something that I would make use of a great deal. I can't think of any color that I use more than golds, so having all different kinds of golds and different tinted golds, a lot of people that's just ridiculous. For me, that might not be a bad thing. The only thing is, somebody did say, I think it was Lauren May Beauty, did say that the Melt Cosmetics Smoke Sessions palette reminded her of sort of a miniature version of this gold palette. I'm going to have to investigate that because I'm wearing the Smoke Sessions on my eyes right now, and if it can break the gold palette's demon-like grip on my soul, that would be welcome. Okay, moving along. Pat McGrath everything. Well, maybe not everything. As I've said before, I'm not really willing to go the Pat McGrath route for lipsticks. I just can't do it. But all of her eyeshadow palettes that I don't currently have, I want them. I want all of them. I want the Mothership 5, this bronzy palette. Oh my god, that is so freaking beautiful. I can't even handle it. Like, I'm gonna die. I'm just like the Bronze Seduction Mothership 5. I'm just gonna, like, my heart is going to just explode right out of my chest, and it's going to turn gooey, and there's going to be goo everywhere. It's a problem for me. Pat McGrath is a problem for me. I have 4 of her palettes. I have 4 previous larger palettes. They're beautiful. They're so beautiful. I am reluctant to use them because they are so beautiful and so freaking expensive. It's like gold, right? It's like, you know how you don't want to, it's like you don't want to touch the sun. You don't want to get too close to the sun or you'll burn away. You don't want to, you know, use all of your expensive, I don't know, fish or food, like whatever it is, like you buy something that's very expensive and you don't want to just use it up, which is stupid because obviously makeup goes bad. And also, I'm never going to get through all of those eyeshadows even if I don't hold back. But it's just something in me. I'm like, oh, it's so beautiful. I can't just walk around carrying beautiful, beautiful on my face all the time. What am I going to do? I can't. I don't even know. But the Bronze Seduction full palette, I'm gonna buy that. I mean, unless it goes out of stock and doesn't come back before, I don't know, like a month or so, I'm gonna buy it. And I love the previous 4. I have all of them, like I said. I love them all, but this one is the one that I would use the most. So there's that. But it doesn't stop there. The madness doesn't stop there. Because I also want her mini palettes. I want this Mothership Total, the Mothership that doesn't have any vowels in it, you know, the Mothership Total 3-piece set of her previous 6-pan palettes. I completely want those. I really want them. And then there's also the new ones. What are those? What are those? What are those? What are those? Yeah, like this Dark Star palette. Like, what? It's a problem. This Summer Seduction. I don't even know. Like, those miniature ones that came out. Like, it's a problem for me. I have a problem. Now, I've never tried, I think she has like highlighters. I've never tried those. It's better that I don't. I've never tried her lipsticks. It's better that I don't. Speaking of things that I kind of want all of, let's talk about ColourPop. The Jelly Much eyeshadows. I want every single one of them. When I first saw those, I was like, that's a very strange concept, but they got pretty good reviews. So recently, when I was buying the Bretman Rock collection, I threw in 2 of my favorite Jelly Much colors just to see if I liked the texture, if I liked how they worked, if they were as beautiful as I have heard. And I have trouble with single shadows. Even the Super Shock shadows, which I really, really love, I have like 50 something of them, but I barely ever use them. So I have to like weigh my interest in those jellies with how many of them I am going to routinely use, especially since they're jelly, so they dry out quickly, but they're so beautiful. I'm going to try not to just buy them all because we have to be sane in this house. I don't have room for all of it. I don't have a reason to buy all of it. I don't really need any of it, but I'm going to dial it back a little bit. Hopefully a lot of it. And continuing on the subject of ColourPop, there is the Brown Sugar collection from Karaoke. I have one item from the Brown Sugar collection. It's that cream gel liner in Nut. I'm gonna have to buy the other 2. I might have to get the palette. I'm not sure. See, obviously I'm not gonna buy the whole collection because there's just no point in buying the entire collection, but for things like the liner, I definitely want to get Rum because I need like a richer, darker brown liner. In addition to this one, which is obviously much lighter. I don't really use a lot of matte liners, but I might get Stew just in case I need a matte brown liner. And I definitely want to get Chocolatier, the Luxe lipstick. It is so beautiful. Yeah, so I want those. I still want those. Too Faced. Obviously, one of the more controversial brands that I could talk about, this might be a little bit weird, but a lot of the products of theirs that I really, really want are actually things like setting sprays and primers. And then there's another thing that they're really great at, which is lip products. Like, I'd like to try a lot more of their melted lipsticks. Love those. I seem to have lost my lady balls, you know, the lipstick, not, you know, mine. I seem to have lost it, which is like really tragic for me. That's a beautiful color. I get a lot of compliments when I wear that. But let's focus in on specific things. I really want to try the Born This Way foundation. I've heard good things about it. I know that Jackie Aina went in there and put in some new colors. Hopefully one of them matches me, either the old ones or the new ones. I've never tried the Born This Way foundation. Wow, they have a stuffed clover. I want that too. The Tutti Frutti collection, though, that's really what sticks in my mind. Especially, I want the Sparkling Pineapple palette. That mix of like rich golds, sort of neutrals, that kind of like greeny color, it just looks so beautiful and like something that I would use all the time. Okay, breathe, Ariel, breathe. The reason I didn't buy it is because it's $34 and it's just tiny. Next time I go to Ulta or something, I'm just gonna, you know, take a look, see if it's worth it. Oh, and also, do they still have those rabbits? It's not even makeup, but like I really want those. I have one of them. You know those like makeup bags that were the shape of like a bunny? I have the green one, but the pink one was out of stock, and I don't know if they ever restocked it. I don't think they did because it was supposed to be a limited edition anyway. Oh my god, they did. I gotta buy it. Oh no, that's terrible. So, remember when I said that wanting the entire collection of anything was clearly crazy? So I want the entire Ace Beauty Paradise collection. I've been eyeing this for a while, just like everybody else was, but I just never bought it because I don't know why. I mean, well, you know what it is? At the time that it came out, I wasn't actually buying that much makeup. Just I had bought so much makeup when I first got back into it, and then I just kind of stopped because I had so much, and I still have, obviously, so much. It's not like I ran through it all, but I sure do want these palettes. I'm just like, I'm looking at them right now, and I was like, maybe if I look at them again, I won't want them. But no, I do. Especially, you know what? Especially Paradise Fallen, this like dark, like purpley one. It's so freaking beautiful. Like Blossom Passion just kind of looks like a lot of the warm tone palettes that come out. It's not that notable to me. Classical Paradise, that one's kind of pretty. I mean, it's a little bit different than the average palette. I don't think I have a palette that has like those specific colors, although I do have those colors spread out among various palettes. Obviously Slice of Paradise, just a rainbow palette, but oh my gosh, Paradise Fallen, that's so beautiful. So if you're probably saying right now, well, if you only like one of them, why don't you just buy one of them? I actually like all of them. I'm just talking about like which one stands out the most. If I were only going to buy the ones that are particularly inflaming to my passions, I guess I would get Paradise Fallen and then Classical Paradise, but I feel like I would regret not getting the other ones because I'm looking at them and I still really want them. Violet Voss, the Flamingo palette. So this palette's a little bit controversial because obviously I have seen it used on some women who had darker skin tones. It did not show up on them. And then that makes me feel like really conflicted because I didn't have any problem getting it to show up on me, obviously, when I swatched it in Sephora, but that's because... And then I feel bad, but this palette haunts me. Corally, sort of orangey pinks, those teals. Whenever I see something that has a teal in it, I feel like this one is just slightly different than my other teals, or maybe I just, like, I don't, sometimes it's not even that I think it's different, it's just that it's there and it's so pretty, and I'm like, ooh, teal. And I get all the flutter, and next thing you know, I have another palette. Do I need another palette? No, not really, but I really want this palette. I mean, I'm looking at it, and I still want it. You know, no matter how long I look at it, I still really want this palette. Just don't hate me if I turn up with this palette. And speaking of eyeshadow palettes that have quality control issues, the Dominique Cosmetics Lemonade palette. I was waiting so long and with such anticipation for this palette. Ever since the sneak previews, I was like, this palette is beautiful. This palette is unique. This palette is like murdering my insides. I want it. I want everything about it. Look at these beautiful, summery, sparkly colors like soda colors, lemonade colors. It's just stunning. But then apparently there's a serious problem with like them developing hard pan very quickly. And I will say, I mean, obviously this is not the best way to judge because of what they go through in stores, but when I was in Sephora, I did kind of like poke at it and it was hard pan everywhere. Like I couldn't get anything to come up off of some of those colors. And it's breaking my heart because one of the colors that I was really, really interested in is this green cucumber. It's called cucumber, I believe. Yeah. That one, oh my God. I saw this palette and I fell in love with that color, and also with like these fizzy sort of crisp yellows and pinks. I want it so bad, but it's apparently not very good and it's expensive. Like, do I want to spend $42 for a palette that is going to develop hard pan like immediately? I don't know. I mean, like, I don't. I really don't, but I really want this palette, so I'm not really sure what to do. I guess I could buy it and then just kind of see if it's as bad as I've heard, because I can always return it if I find that it is in fact horrifying. But you know, I know me well enough to know that I'm probably not going to do that. I'm just going to suffer through using it if it's that bad, which I'm not saying that it is, because I haven't tried it yet, but I really want to. Anastasia Beverly Hills Amrezy highlighter. It's not that I decided not to buy it. It's just I sort of procrastinated on buying it and then it just was gone. That was a little bit heartbreaking for me. So you can imagine, when I heard that this highlighter was coming back into production this year, I was stoked, and I'm still stoked, and I'm going to buy it. And that's pretty much all I have to say about that, because I totally still want it, and unlike the others, I don't feel the need to fight it. I'm almost ashamed to say this as a makeup lover, but I don't own anything from Fenty Beauty. I do want to buy their Trophy Wife highlighter, though. I did play with it a little bit in store, and it was just as beautiful as its reputation. Very blinding. But you know what? I'm extra like that. I'll put it on my eyes. Sometimes I'll put it on my face. That's just the way I roll. I don't mind being extra. That's my reputation anyway. So, yeah, I do want that. There are other things from Fenty that I would be interested in trying, like some of the Mademoiselle lipsticks, but I'm not really sure about the formula because I've heard mixed reviews. But Trophy Wife, definitely want that. There's a lot of, like that highlighter palette. I kind of want that too. But that's a new one, so it probably shouldn't even be in this thing. And the last thing I'm going to go over in terms of things that I still unfortunately want and can't seem to shake or shed from my system is the Huda Beauty New Nudes palette. So I'm a little bit conflicted about this one. I do, when I first saw it, I said to myself, Ariel, that palette is looking incredibly boring. And in fact, I actually filmed a segment in my anti-haul where I said that I was never going to buy it because it looks incredibly boring. But after that, I kept hearing these incredible reviews of it. I'm seeing all these amazing looks with it. And I said to myself, perhaps I am misjudging it. Maybe I should consider buying it. So I actually took the segment out of the anti-haul and then I started playing with it in store. And in person, it looked just as boring as I expected it to look. I don't know, but it's strange because the looks that people are coming up with are not boring, and they aren't things that I would have thought could have come out of that palette. So I'm really in like a conflicted place when it comes to that palette. Do I want it? Do I not want it? I don't know. Like, it's hard to judge because the palette itself looks really boring, but apparently it can do a lot of things that aren't boring at all. I don't know. It's just difficult. I don't know. There's a lot of other things that I also want, but some of them are things that I don't actually know the name of, by which I mean these indie brands that I see on YouTubers channels, and they have beautiful packaging, beautiful color stories, gorgeousness, but I don't remember what the names are because they aren't really known quantities. Like, I can say offhand, oh yeah, Milani, they came out with those liquid eyeshadows. I did put this together on a whim, so it's just the stuff that came immediately to mind. Maybe I'll put together a second part, and then that'll be things that came to me later or things I had to research to find the names of. So that's the deal, though. Offhand, those are the things that I still totally want, and I still do totally want them. Probably I'm not going to buy all of them, even if I said that I was going to buy them. I may or may not get around to it, because a lot of times, like, I want something, but I just sort of, like, I say to myself, okay, well, I want it, but it's $50. Do I really want to spend $50 this week? No. And then I wait, and then I've found something else that I want, and then next thing you know, it's been 6 months and the thing doesn't exist anymore. So that happens to me a lot. So some of the things, I might not buy them, especially because if you think about it, if I wanted them that much, maybe I would have bought them by now anyway. But we'll see. So we're going to find out. We're going to find out over the next couple of months. And in the meantime, hope you have a fantastic day. I'm sorry if I'm slurring a little bit. It is late and I'm tired, but it is good. So have a beautiful day, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye. But the Lush lipsticks, Luxe lipsticks, yeah, gonna have to get those.